Good morning. Always comfy. But first, coffee. My name is Lisa Maxwell. Today is Thursday, April 9th. Happy birthday to my friend Lily. Um, we will continue using the Herbal Tarot by Michael Tierra and Candace Canton. This card came up as the Six of Pentacles came up yesterday, and I keep reading hops on there. So this is a great, basically a tarot deck based on herbology. Herbology. It's like Harry Potter. Okay, magic. Yeah, we're all magical. So it's a deck based on herbal medicine. I am not a medical doctor. I'm not even an herbalist. I like to I like it very much. I follow it along. I use it very carefully myself and advise that for yourself. And if there's anything that comes up for you in so if you look at the commentary, we used this deck yesterday. If you look at the commentary, we already have a card coming up, Five of Cups. So if you look at the commentary from yesterday's reading, I wrote out different kinds of the different herbs that came up on the cards, and how and then I referenced some links to some medical astrology, how there are different zodiac signs are in charge of different body systems and functions. And so I referenced a couple of those people. Look at those. I'll do that for us today as well in the commentary for this. So we have the Five of Cups. So Five of Cups is a sad card. I'm sorry to just say that, but it, just like anything else, everything has its light and its dark aspects, and that's one of the things I really want to talk about, because one of the things that came up in the when I was writing up the commentary on yesterday's reading in the notes that you can see in Facebook and on the YouTube. On Instagram, I couldn't post everything, so I referenced the YouTube link. So if you want that information, I'll try to figure out another way to put it in the comments. I actually have a good idea. So yeah, like from a sad time can come good ideas. What am I sad about? What didn't work out? So this individual is actually sitting there with, in a very contemplative, yes, sad things happen, and they happen in order to change and teach us, to create change. We have to have these moments of change. This is a Five of Cups. So instead of something like the Tower, which is something like on a large scale, where there's kind of divine intervention going on, this is stuff where, there's restlessness, that there's something that's just not right, and there's an emotional and it's wine that's out, but it feels like our blood's been spilled out somehow. Like there's something that's occurred that's making us take the time to reflect on where we want to go. That's just my first read on that card. We'll find out more about what horsetail is for. Like I said, I'll write. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. And I'm not going to take the time right now to go into the book. I'll pull the cards. The commentary will be available for us to read about. So how horsetail can help you with maybe the, and I'm thinking, just off the top of my head, horses are freedom. Like sometimes we don't recognize that that sometimes these situations can occur and we don't realize that we have the freedom of choice to look up and, yes, these things have happened and I can still live. And I still have actually, there's some storm clouds going on, but with rain, that brings the green, lush grass. It's not just one way of looking at things. When we get into that black and white thinking that came up, I kind of discussed that black and white thinking, that came up in the Five of Swords. She was in a black and white. She had dark hair. She had a black sash. She had a white, when we get into this like very polar kinds of situations or polarized thinking about anything or looking at things, perspectives or attitudes, well, this ends up being emotionally, cups are, we feel emotionally bereft. But this is only a temporary energy. Like I said, this is not the Tower card. This is the kind of stuff that can lead us to the changes of the Tower, which is fine, you know. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, and the rest of the cards have come out. And then we have Strength and the Magician. So, like I said, Harry Potter, magic. But with Strength, so the moon today is in Capricorn, and it'll stay in Capricorn, I think, for the whole day before moving to Aquarius. And the stuff that we're feeling right now, I also referenced Dorothy Morgan, and there are other astrologers out there who I absolutely invite you to listen to. Dorothy Morgan does a really good breakdown of, if you have any kind of sense of, or talk with an astrologer, because there's a huge planetary pileup called a stellium, but it's really, this is like a super stellium that's happening in the sign of Aries, which is basically like our front door of, like, that's I am. Those are our motivations. There are the things that make us do the thing, are the actions that we take in the world. This is happening next week, but we're feeling this now. I'm conscious of it because I've been studying on this stuff for a long time. Sometimes we can be feeling like this because we're in a contemplative thing, because we're trying to figure out like what does need to change so we can have a more emotionally rich life. So this leads to the Five of Cups leads to the Six of Cups. A more spiritually, more intuitive in touch. Like, how can we relate better? How can we be more emotionally aligned? So we are in a Six of Cups place where we're seeing that inner child. We're taking care of the inner child here, and we're understanding those tender parts of ourselves. And we're then able to recognize that that's happening with other people. And then we move to the Seven, and then we have the Seven of Cups came up yesterday. We have some choices, but we need to come from a grounded perspective. That was the other thing I want to bring up, is that what I noticed in all of the herbs that we were offered yesterday, and we're also offered some help with the moon today. So the moon is our emotional, no matter where it is in the chart, it's our emotional, the way we respond emotionally to things, or respond to our own emotions. Right? Let's respond to our own emotions first. Capricorn will help us do that. It'll help. It's a grounded sign, and it's a feminine sign. It's an earth element. It'll help us do that in this time. It's wonderful as we're kind of going into all of this, of what's, we're already feeling for next week. It's just too much to not start to feel it, no matter who you are. So, and the changes that are afoot, and the decisions that we kind of have to make. And with this, there's two cups that still remain, right? So we have the strength to get through this. And that's cayenne. Cayenne is we all know what cayenne pepper is. Well, maybe we don't, but cayenne is a pepper. And so, but again, we can use that to fuel us, but what's the right dose? With cayenne pepper, it's always like a pinch. It doesn't need to be. So with the right dose, we can stand, and we can be capable of standing and having the strength and the stamina, because that's what we really want to pull in from this card. We don't want to oversteer the thing. But with the magician knows how to like work with all of the elements, and this one is astrologus. The magician knows how to work with all the elements in order to pull everything together. These are major arcana. This is a minor arcana. So the things that are happening on the day-to-day that kind of make you feel meh, and like things are always kind of in this emotionally not great place, and that we're unable to see that there are actually two cups on offer. There's something here, that black and white thinking that can then kind of then fuel the poor emotions and the poor me, the kind of victim. Gotta say, this is a hard done by kind of card. If we have the strength and the stamina to actually look at ourselves in the right doses, and to stay with situations long enough to learn. So, there's also Christopher Witecki always said that, he's, like I said, he's another astrologer, said that wait for the moon to go into two more signs before making decisions. This isn't the time to be making any types of decisions. This is the time to get creative. To say, you know what? I have two cups. What kind of magic can I make with that? Like, get resourceful. Recognize the goodness of what you have. Maybe things do need to be kind of tipped a little bit, you got to rock the boat a little bit in order to, shake things up, so someone, so we're looking at all aspects of something, not just what's been lost or one way of doing things. There's more than one way of doing things. What do you value? And if you value something enough, central card of the reading, you will, even if you go a little heavy, you'll come back to it and say, hey, listen, that was a little strong. Let me be here. This is actually more what, am I strong enough to actually, step back a little bit? We don't have to go all the way to the other end of the spectrum. There are degrees between two poles of any situation where we can work. Bottom of the deck, Page of Wands. So yeah, then that Shepherd's Purse. So we're coming into, messages about how we want to pursue things, how we want to enact, how we want to approach things. It's only a page though. This is bringing in messages. And Five of Wands. And turmeric is that, and that's an anti-inflammatory. So again, Five of Wands is, we have different approaches and different ways that we're coming at this, but that's just a tussle. We can do things that come to an anti-inflammatory kind of, turmeric, we know what that is. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I will post the information on these herbs for everybody. Absolutely look at the commentary from what was in from yesterday's reading, because pulling in that Libra energy at the time when we have this big pile up in Aries is really important. Pulling in that opposite energy. So you can either, a fire can either, be out of control with everything that's going on, and it's going to go out of control with the lack of understanding. Libra is an air sign. It's knowledge, it's intellect, adding in, that Libra's also a very patient sign, adding in patience in order to have creative possibilities, which I love for us, right? Major Arcana, these are on the deck. So I'm going to leave it at that. This message will be on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. Whenever this message finds you is the right time for you to receive it. Send it to somebody, no matter what the date is, who you think needs to hear what's being offered to all of us. If you want your own private reading, please direct message me on any of those platforms, and or a deeper dive into a deeper discussion about what's available here. So I love you. Be well and have a great day.